It's gonna be the last time that I'm in this podcast that I'm not gonna have a Prime drink in front of me.
This guy.
So
Hey,
have one every
he's trying to get
time,
a sponsor, bro, by Prime.
By Prime?
Joey wants us to be sponsored by Prime.
I'll be like, Logan Paul, I'll fight you, bro, if you don't get us some Prime drinks now.
Bro,
Make that a reel right
He'll
now.
drop you, bro.
Make that a real.
I don't know.
I'll
Hey.
knock that mofo out.
Let's relax, bro. We just got a church.
Praise
We got a
the
pastor
Lord.
here. Jesus.
Jesus' name.
Santas. Jeez.
Okay, let us pray.
For real.
Hey, don't get me saying mofo on the clip, though, dude.
Oh, that's going up.
1,000%.
People gonna start
That's
cussing
the
at me.
first clip that's going up.
That's the first reel for
500,000 views.
Hashtag Northeast Assembly.
Dang.
They're gonna put it right up there with Carl Lentz, bro.
Oh,
Another pastor takes a tumble.
Stephen Furtick.
Man,
Stephen Furtick finally. Stephen Furtick calls out Logan Paul.
that'd be too funny.
Stephen
We'll host it
Furtick,
right there, bro. Wow, P. Fua on the mic. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be the ref. I'll be the ref. Don't worry about it.
I'll just
Out
be
of
in
breath.
attendance.
The whole time. Just can't breathe. Hold on, guys.
Back up. Break.
You're sitting down during the rounds, too, with the water guy.
Third corner. You got a third corner.
Yes, that is so funny.
What color is your corner?
It'd be the white because
It'd be the
they
white
have
one.
the red and
Neutral.
blue, and then they have the white.
He's laying down in the center of the ring, just out.
It looks like the ref got knocked out. Fighting the wind. I used to box for real, bro. I actually have stamina, I promise you.
Yeah.
I can probably get in the ring right now and do 2 rounds.
Right now?
Right now, I can do 2 rounds.
With Joey?
Joey couldn't last.
Hey, it's tough, man.
Joey-
I probably wouldn't even be last
Joey's
around in wrestling
he's a
either.
wrestler. I'm a boxer, bro. He only knows how to take down.
You're a wrestler?
I got
Oh,
hands,
yeah.
for real.
WWE, so
He played basketball like a wrestler, too.
yeah, I do horrible.
He does, huh? That boy be ready to swing at you.
The only thing I can really do with basketball is a rebound, man, and I'll pass it to somebody who can shoot.
Your defense is not too
I
bad.
could,
though.
I got some hops. I'm like,
Your defense
Get up
ain't
there.
too bad.
huh?
Your defense ain't too bad.
Sorry, I guess.
I can just pass the ball really good.
I get intimidated with guys like Aaron. Be like, oh shoot, hey, slow it down for me.
Oh, no.
Yo,
My boy Ronnie over there, my boy, he fixed my
Oh,
broken.
no.
with the shots.
He fixed my broken shot.
He's still fixing my shots right now. So I'm getting there.
Fix my shot, too.
He's a shooter?
He's an assistant coach at Emmanuel High School.
Oh, man, we
Yeah.
murdered their girls.
Oh, the girls.
He's like, it's all right, I'm the guy's coach.
Yeah,
He said,
he
"I'm
is.
meds." Don't worry about it.
A lot of white guys can shoot, though.
That's true. They got that form down,
That's what they're known
I
for.
played with a lot of white guys.
Dude, on my deployment, it was nonstop basketball, bro. Yeah, black guys, white guys, Indians, everything.
You got
Yellow
a couple
people.
Puerto Ricans in there.
No,
They be shaking. That's what I'm saying. They be shaking.
They just
bro, they were the longest yard cheerleaders right there on the sideline. Bro.
Oh, dang.
They be shaking people, bro. We're known for shanking,
I
so
was showing little wrestling moves, yeah.
shoot.
But
we'll be the loudest guys. We'll be the coaches because we're loud.
That's
Oh,
for
yeah.
loud.
You know,
Clap those hands. Stomp feet.
that's how we did it last week.
Yep. Well, that was a great start to this. Welcome back to Creative Culture, episode like 17 now, something like that. We got a really cool one. I just wanted to do some announcements real quick. Obviously, you see everything looks crazy different.
Look at this. This is phenomenal.
We are just working on upgrading things and just getting better at what we do, from a production standpoint to just kind of everything. Honestly, I did want to acknowledge we have a new production assistant, y'all.
Yes, we do.
Ronnie. Let's clap it up for Ronnie real quick.
We're gonna put a picture of him or what?
No, come on the screen real quick.
Just come on the screen right here. Just wave to that camera.
Wave to this camera right here. Let's just welcome him. That's awesome. Thank you, Ronnie, for joining the team. He let us know last week that, he was feeling the vibe and feeling, good about what we're doing and what we're trying to build, and he wanted to be a part of the team. So we're glad to have him. But without further ado, I wanted to welcome and introduce our.
Real quick, though, before we introduce,
Go ahead.
I want to give a shout out to one person,
Go ahead.
Joey, for making this desk
Yes.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
I helped as much as I could, but
Yeah, he
Joey
did.
just went off on this thing. So
And there's more to come too.
Yes, they don't even know.
Nope.
But yeah, Joey really did
Outdid himself there.
Yes.
So
I literally had a picture, sent it to him. I showed it to you,
Yeah.
and he said we can build it, and he did.
If you build it, they will come.
Sweet, son.
Come on, man. Feel the dreams. Anybody?
I'm gonna clip that too. He's just giving me clips today.
Sorry. No, yeah.
Is your iPad charger?
Hey.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Show is.
Okay.
My iPad is charging from the desk.
Yeah, you can charge them, man. So that's good. I like this desk. It's I like doing anything with woodworking. It's always fun.
Yeah. I'm not talented at that kind of stuff at all. No.
I drew it up, so I guess that.
I sent pictures
all
of
we
what
needed.
the thousands of dollars ones cost.
He said this one looks good. This one looks good.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you, man. Are we ready?
Yeah. Let's
Let's
go.
do
Ready
it.
to jump into it? I want to
Excited.
welcome someone who's become a really good friend to me, who is now my pastor, someone I look up to a lot, and I'm just grateful that he made time to be with us today. So help me welcome Pastor Fua. Let's go.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
The pastor.
Yeah, I've known.
He's creative culture's pastor. If y'all don't know.
Hey, there you go. Heck
He's
yeah.
gonna be our touring pastor.
So go follow him.
Touring pastor.
Yeah, when we go out.
With clear American water.
Sponsor. Yeah.
I'll put y'all out to game with
So
these
did.
waters,
I do
bro.
not like sparkling water, and when I drink
And
this,
that one's
I was
good,
like,
isn't it?
What the heck?
I hate sparkling water. That's the best one.
It's from
I
made in
tried-
Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's what it is.
Is it really? You're lying.
Clear
I was
Puerto
gonna
Rican.
say.
That's what it is.
Where is it made of?
America, probably.
What's AR?
Arkansas.
Clear American.
Arkansas? All right, cool. It's made in Arkansas.
What's AR?
I don't know my stuff.
It's a
man.
gun.
AR-15.
Some guy named Billy made these drinks.
Yeah, in the AR. No, but thank you, Pastor, for joining us, taking time out of your schedule to be with us. This conversation is going to be fun. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, kind of all over the map. We have some notes, but from those questions come up, out of the blue. So, just kind of kick us off, just kind of telling us a little bit about you. Maybe I know you're married, but they don't. That little bit about the basic information.
Kind of
about
just
yourself.
gave it away.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he can go ahead and say it.
I am married. Got a 3-year-old boy, Anthony Brave, and I'm about 30. I think I'm 35 this year.
Start forgetting after 30.
Start
I
forgetting
think
after a while.
It's just a number.
Yeah, and so I'm just born and raised San Francisco. Kind of grew up in Oklahoma.
Ooh.
And,
Midwest.
Midwest, where it's at. People are friendlier, nicer. The food is better.
The Bay is.
Yeah, the Bay, they don't care. They don't like people in the Bay.
They don't like themselves.
Yeah, so, that's just a little bit about me. Been married 7 years now.
Wow,
man.
So
7
going on
years.
7 years, yeah. And life is good, man. Here
Yeah.
in Fresno, beautiful island of Fresno. It's amazing.
You're a pastor where?
driest island.
Pastor here in Fresno at Reflection Church.
You see the shirt, bro.
Yeah,
Come
check
on,
the
look at
merch.
that.
Check the
Ooh.
merch.
Yep. Hit me up. Let me know.
Reflection church.
Yes.
So I know you. Did you grow up a hooper?
I grew up. My dad has always played. I always grew up at the park,
Yeah.
playing out there with
Yeah.
how someone's doing. No, not just like I was out there just playing, and I kind of just watched my dad over the years, and then just grew to like it. And when we moved to Oklahoma, I couldn't play that good. But in the Midwest, like sports is like a whole nother level.
So, like, everything?
Yeah,
It's
it's like
everything,
everything.
yeah.
They shut down the city, like everything. So I felt like I had to get better. So I would spend time at the gym every day,
Yeah.
like
Wow.
literally every day. And I would just play, practice. And then I got on a little kid team and then just started getting better and better. And then
What
people
position?
started asking me. I was a point guard, shooting guard. I could shoot really good. Or I could. I don't know if I still can.
You probably can.
I'm the ref now. Out of
Oh, you're a coach, bro. You're a coach.
Yeah,
We'll
coach.
get into that too. man.
But yeah, I kind of grew up around basketball. My dad was a hooper. I just kind of
How
loved
tall
the
is your
game.
dad? I think I saw your dad.
Yeah, he's
Church, right?
6'6".
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
Ooh.
I think
He's
you
a lot
had.
bigger now.
I
He's
think
like,
the one time you mentioned him, and I was like, "Them dude's a freaking giant."
yeah,
Wait,
he's
and how
like
tall are you?
380. I'm like 6'2".
Yeah.
Smaller. Yeah, he's way bigger than me.
How many
tall?
siblings?
I got one brother, 2 sisters,
Is he
and
taller
I'm
than
the
you?
no, he's shorter than me. I'm the tallest of the siblings.
Wow.
and I'm the oldest of them all.
And your dad's the giant.
My dad's the giant. My mom's like
6'5".
Really? She's all my height.
Yeah, she's super small.
That's crazy.
And she's the strong-willed one.
All right.
And my dad's more the chill.
Chill.
Yeah. So how did tell me about how playing ball in high school was. Like, were you like on that first team and all this kind of things? I know you played college, so what was that like in high school?
High school was bomb, honestly. Like, I coach here now in Fresno, so it's a lot different. So when I first walked in, I was like, bro, what is this? This is whack. Like, they don't even know how to dribble. Like, I was like, this is bad.
Man.
And so, like, out there,
Bro, watch out.
like,
Some of your students might watch this. Bro.
they know that they're not good. Not just playing. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to clip that one too.
Tag Fresno High.
Yeah, it's Fresno High Warriors. But I just loved basketball, so I always in Oklahoma. It was like a whole different vibe. Like, literally, like, there was 2,000, 3,000 people watching.
Jeez.
Like, it was really good. And so I played all the way from in 8th grade. I had the varsity coach coming out to my 8th grade games, like watching and scouting. And then then from 9th grade I played, and then went straight to varsity. And then I just kind of grew, like, as we go. And every player, like, I think I had like 6, 7 D1 point guards before me that would go before me. And so when I got there, I was like, dang, this is a big thing that I have to try to do my thing. And so I just did.
What school?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow. Yes, sir.
That sounds very encouraging.
There's like 2,000 people in the school.
2,000?
Broken Arrow.
My graduating class was like 1,180 or something like that.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, so it's a lot of people.
That's pretty big.
So, and the way it is there, it's like freshmen, sophomores in one school, and then there's north and south. So the south side, north side, and then
it was big school.
Yeah, and then the 11th and 12th come together.
Boy, what's a mini college?
Yeah, it was. It
Pretty
looked like
much.
college. Yeah, and
What
they
was,
treat you like it too.
What was like your peak performance in high school? Like high scoring game?
You know,
and
you
all that?
remember.
Highest.
Gotta
I
remember.
He got that newspaper at home.
It's right here.
In his office.
It's in his office.
I'm just like,
I'll go to my car.
my highlight game was when we played our rivals who we didn't beat in like 9 years or something.
Wow.
That's always the best.
Yeah, and their point guard signed at K-State, Kansas State.
Okay.
Yeah, Kansas. Oh yeah. So
K-State
when I was
was-
going against them, I was like, all right, I got to show them what's up, and we beat them literally like, in overtime too.
That's
Really?
crazy.
What'd you drop on his head?
I dropped 28 that game.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but he did rip me that game though. That's the first time I ever got ripped.
Oh,
It's all
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
She
he
won,
me.
so
He
it matter.
won.
Shoot.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
After that, you played college ball. What was like recruiting process like?
College, I didn't. I used to get a lot until I got hurt. I hurt my knee my senior year. We're the only undefeated team in the state. We're ranked in the nation. And so when I hurt my knee, I literally saw like college people or coaches like walk out. So I was like,
really?
oh, like this is not gonna.
That
be good.
always seems to be like everybody's story, man. Like I blew out my knee,
Yeah,
you know.
the knee, and I got undercut. That's what happened. Like I went up to try to go do something, and then this dude just
Took you out.
took me out. Yeah,
Had a
Thank
target
God.
on you.
Ooh.
but God, no, come on,
God had another plan. Come on now.
plan. But God broke my knee to mend my heart.
Okay. Clip it.
Clip it.
Oh, man.
So talking about God, did you grow up in church your whole life?
Grew up in church my whole life. I knew my dad and mom served. My dad was a worship leader and worship team. And
You play instruments?
My grandpa, no, not me.
No, your dad.
Oh no, he just sings.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a
And
voice.
then my grandpa was the pastor,
Oh shoot. That's
and
cool.
then my other grandpa was the assistant pastor. And so it was just like a
That's kind of cool, right?
yeah. So that's kind of how it worked. It's just
And it was right there in Oklahoma.
no, that was in San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we moved to Oklahoma when my dad went to Bible school.
Oh, which
That's
Bible,
where I grew
which
up.
Bible college?
Raymond Bible College. That's
Okay.
where I went. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So, I grew up in church, you know, and I was like not a pastor's kid, but you know,
You
I
were
saw
around
the
it
life all
your
around
life.
it. Yeah.
Well, you were a pastor's kid.
And it was like
technically.
Assembly of God, so it's like you sleep
Oh.
at the church. So
Oh yeah.
every
You're
day or
there
something. Yeah.
Sunday through Sunday.
Yeah, and
Well,
then like the Sunday service is like 4 hours.
That's what I was gonna
I
ask.
kinda
Then you have
Man.
night, then you have night service.
I
I'm
missed
like,
those a little bit.
6 hours long.
You
I
missed a
do
4-hour
miss-
service.
No, I do be missing like the
If I was
2.5
playing drums.
hour services. I missed
Well,
that.
we just had a worship night. It was like 2 hours, so that's
it was good.
a good fix for me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know
need it
about every day.
every Sunday. No.
Yeah,
I grew up like that.
Unless it was
Me
Joey
too.
preaching.
2 hours
Stephen
About
Furtick.
2
Furtick.
minutes.
with a translator.
Right.
With
Everybody's
the
nuts.
translator.
With a translator.
Oh, I grew up in a church like that.
I did
I
too.
grew up in a Puerto Rican black church. So like, yeah.
So
It was bad.
which one was translated?
No, because like the whole, like he didn't translate it correctly. So he would like preach his own message with the pastor. It was funny.
I've heard
Oh my
that
God,
too.
2 different
No,
songs.
it was the same sermon, but he would like say things certain. They were like, bro, he did not
Different
say that in
context.
Spanish. We know he didn't say that in Spanish. My boy said amen. He didn't say all those words. Bro.
Yeah, one boy was preaching on Mark, and then the translator was preaching on like Matthew. He's explaining more.
Trying to get his own shine on.
Yeah.
I'm used to like 6-hour services, bro.
6 hours.
Yeah, I was used to all that.
Devil is a lie.
Not me. Nope.
I'm good.
I was asleep
But
under
that's
the
those
pews.
days where like miracles. The first time I saw a leg grow out and
Yeah.
everything, like that's when. Yeah, you don't see that now.
Shut-
Everything is 25 minutes and it's
We
going.
need 6-hour services
Yeah.
to see that.
No, God could do it in 2 minutes.
Amen.
I'm about
About to drop this mic.
The mic.
to
No.
go inside.
Shoot. So you grew up in church. Was there ever a time like we've all had this journey like in our own faith walks, but ever a time like that you kind of wandered off a little bit during you grew up in church? Ever like in high school? I don't know when that would have started for you to where you kind of started trying to do your own thing and figure things out like away from the church.
Yeah, that really happened in high school. In high school, like I said, sports was like the thing.
Yeah.
So then when you were good, you're getting invited to all the parties.
More
Everybody wants you
attention.
to come. More attention, more pressure. And I just fell off, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to party.
Yeah.
Especially like my senior year, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm going all out. Like,
Yeah.
this is the last thing. It's my last year. And I literally just partied hard and try to hide it from my parents and,
sure.
same old. But I always, even when I left and even when I went to Bible college, bro, sometimes you think like Bible college is like,
I heard it was getting turned
yeah,
down. Man.
it's getting people was getting turned
Like
up.
crazy.
Yeah,
Bible
not in the
college?
Holy Ghost either. It was like for real, like turned up.
Oh,
Like,
it was in
those
the Holy
were-
Ghost. Sorry.
Those were worse parties than like college, like
Yeah.
literally, yeah, it's crazy. So like, even in college, I was doing that. The dean even knew, like they were like, "Hey man, you need to like
Calm down.
chill.
Calm
I
yourself.
know you
That's
playing
crazy.
basketball, but like chill." But I thank God like that it was grace. I think I needed to see like that they'll still use you, they'll still
Yeah.
love on you and
I'm
stuff.
about
So,
to preach right here.
yeah.
What was like that turning point? Like a switch
Like
that
that
just kind of
climax.
turned out. Yeah.
It wasn't until
Great
I was
word.
dating my wife now, who's my
Oh,
wife
wow.
now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Man, when did you guys start dating?
We dated in 2011. Was it 2011? Yeah.
10 years, 11 years.
Yeah, 2011, and
Boy's
she,
math is good. You heard?
yeah,
No, I said 10 years.
You said
I was
11.
wrong.
You said 11.
yeah.
Somebody said
close.
11.
But she literally asked me to go to church,
Wow.
and so she asked me to go to church, and she knew like
Oh,
when
she
we went
was
on
going
our
to the same
first.
school?
Yeah, she was. I met her at
That's-
college.
college,
Yeah, college.
That's
So
cool.
when I seen her, I told one of my boys like, "I'm about to marry that girl."
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally said that. I was like, I'm about to marry her, and he was like, "Bro, you crazy? Like, you get all these other girls?" I was like, "Nah, that's my wife."
Wow.
And I literally said it, and he
That's
was
so
like, "You're crazy."
That's
And I kept
cool.
asking her on a date, and she was like,
Nah,
No.
"Yeah."
Are you still going a little bit crazy during this time? Or?
Yeah, I was like trying to get back, right? Because I moved back to Oklahoma from Vegas when I was in another relationship trying to do my thing. I moved back.
Yeah.
And then when I saw her, and then I realized she was like super like into the word and stuff. So
Spiritually mature, huh?
yeah, I had to put on Jehovah Sneaky. I was like, yeah, in the beginning.
Never heard that before.
All right, now, hold on.
I'm still in that
I
one.
had to throw the scripture in the book of Numbers. I didn't see yours. No,
I
I'm
didn't
playing.
Man.
Can we change
I didn't
that?
see yours on my phone.
Nah, but I literally like I knew, and so I knew I had to change. And then when she asked me to go to church, I was like, yeah, we can go to Raymond, that's our church. And she was like, no, I want to go to this church on the north side. And I was like, you're a white girl. We're about to go to like literally we're nothing but a black church. Like that's how it was. And she's like, I want to go there. And that's when I go there, and it's a whole everyone's black there almost,
she
and
was
the
getting down
pastor's
with that.
white, the one old white pastor, and he
Yeah.
preaches a sermon about breaking chains and
Yeah.
all that, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then their youth pastor came up, which was Michael Todd.
Wow.
At the time, he was their young adults pastor, youth pastor, and he walked up. I was like, oh, I think I could relate to him, you know. And he was like, come tonight. It's youth service. It's gonna be dope. Young adults. So I went that night, and I was like, all right, cool. I get to hear this man speak. Bro, they had the same white guy from the morning preach the same message again.
Oh, really?
He was like, I feel like God was speaking to somebody, and Bishop Gary is going to preach this message. I'm like, bro, I heard this message this morning, like literally. And so I had a bad attitude about it, but that day it like literally shifted.
Yeah.
Like he preached the message, and I was in the back in tears, and I had like, you know, had my Niner hat on. I was like, yeah, like I'm all hard and stuff, like yeah. And then my girl, tears just running down. And then he got done with the message, and then Pastor Mike came up there, and he called me. I was like, you in the back. And I was like, no. You know how when you don't want to get caught out, you just put your head down. You're like, so he
start looking around?
Yeah, you don't look around. Like, close your eyes. And I was like, bruh. And so he literally just like called me out. Yeah. Looking around like.
And then you lock eyes with him, and you're like, he's like, you know, like.
Nah, this man literally called me out. Like, he's like, with the Cali hoodie, the Niner hat, and the earrings. I'm like, oh, okay.
My boy just saw your earrings.
He saw the earrings, man. And I literally, as I was walking, I was just crying. And there's probably like 300-400 people, young adults like my age. And I'm sitting there like, what's he about to do? And he shuts off his mic. And he literally, I felt like he was like a prophet just telling me. He's like, man, you done this, you did this, the girls and this. I'm like, bro, how do you know? Like, I don't even know you like that. And it literally like shifted, and the next thing I knew, I was like on my knees crying. And
That's
then I was
awesome.
like, I woke up, or not woke up, but I got up out of it, and I felt like I was in front of God's face. And when I looked, my wife was, or my girl at the time was right there.
Yeah.
And he had called her out and said something too, and I was like, dang. But I always remember that day because he told me I had a big calling on my life. He's like, if you learn to submit to God and do what you're supposed to do, God has a big calling on your life in ministry.
Wow.
I was like, all right, and then the rest was history.
You really said all right in that moment, or did you say, no, I don't want to know that?
Because he gave me this heavy chain, and he's like, on the count of 3, we're all going to count, and you're going to drop those chains. He was like, 1, 2, 3, and I didn't drop it.
Wow.
And he was like, yep, that's pride. Yep, you don't want to drop it. He did it 3 times. And
Really?
So I actually dropped it, yeah. And he was like, that's what you've been holding on to for all these years. And it was crazy. And one thing he said, he was like, you were raised in church. I'm like, bro, I literally don't know you. I never met him at that time. And he's like, you grew up in church, but you ain't being the church. And I was like, dang. Like, and he didn't say it on the mic or nothing because,
he was
but
talking
he
to
turned
you.
it off.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
talk, yeah.
Dang.
So it was
Out of
pretty dope.
respect, yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm surprised you didn't drop it. Like usually, even if somebody doesn't go to church, man, they kind of just go with the flow. The preacher's gonna say something, you do it, you know.
Like when they
But
push your head and you fall.
Yeah.
I used to fight. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ooh, I used to fight back.
You did?
I used to put my leg to the. What you doing, bro? Ain't no spirit in you. We do it, you know.
Used to go headbutt him back.
But he said, I ain't dropping these chains 3 times. On the third time?
Yeah, third time I finally dropped it.
That's crazy.
And the rest was history.
Dang.
I was here, and
What a moment.
yeah, it was crazy. But that's my life story, you know. Kind of, I was wilding, man.
What year was that? That was 2011?
That was 2012.
2012?
Yeah.
And then you guys started
It was
dating?
October 27th, too. I remember the day.
Wow.
October 27th.
And you guys were dating or just still?
Yeah,
like,
we were dating.
you were
And then
at the time?
then that's when I signed up for their little internship. Because I was like, yeah, you know when you get saved, you're like, yeah, I'm about to go all in. You know, like, and I signed up for the internship, and it was crazy because they're like, you can't date.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's usually what discipleship programs do.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, no dating, focus on God.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I
Wow.
don't think this is for me. Like, I still got to date, you know what I mean? Like, nah, but that's what kind of how it went through.
Yeah. So that is 2012. What year did you kind of get into ministry? And I know you probably didn't start like right away as a lead pastor. What did that look like coming back home and getting into ministry? Maybe you're getting married now, or you are married. What does that look like to start kind of your ministry life?
So, like, once that day, that was in 2012, I kind of just, like, you know, started getting things right. And then in 2014, when I got married, that's when we became ordained as assistant pastors to my in-laws. So my wife's parents, they pastor a church in Colorado. So we stayed there and helped in ministry. We were there for like 2 years, maybe a year and a half. And then we just felt called to go to Colorado or to California because I hate Colorado. It's like super
Snow.
cold. I'm like a city where I like to be, warm and by the beach
and shorts all the time.
shorts all the time. But it was like snowing. You had to put chains on your tires and like all of that. So I didn't like it, but I just asked God, like, if we're supposed to go, like, speak to my wife, like, let her know it's time to go.
Is that not what every man does?
Yeah,
Bro, that's what we talk about all the time.
We literally just talking about that. Like, I felt like we couldn't move. I couldn't move to do something with someone else until my wife was like, "Hey, why don't you try to ask him?" And that's how
we got hooked up. Yeah.
we just became creative culture.
Yeah.
because your wife.
Or really, it's like our wife was my wife. My wife was kind of the one that was like
advocating.
He's the one.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah.
V was kind of the same deal when we were before we even texted each other because we've been friends for like probably a year and a half at that point.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. Year now.
And then we were both looking to do something like this, and then she tells me, "Why don't you reach out to Nemo?" And then I didn't know that at the same time that was happening to you. So that's kind of how our wives are always like got our backs and that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you got Joey.
Yeah.
No, I'm here.
Stephen Furtick.
Stephen Furtick's here as well. But yeah, you were talking about. Sorry to cut you off. You were talking about what that transition was like coming from Colorado to
to
here
California.
doing ministry. Yeah.
So we moved to San Francisco. We helped with the church that I grew up in. It was predominantly Samoan. It was like Samoan Assembly of God is what it was called. So it was like straight, Samoans. And so we served there as like children's leaders. And it was tough, man, but it taught us like patience, how to deal with kids who are, I'm coming from the Midwest. It's mostly like polite kids, and
No, that's a true story.
This is like literally,
They're all
like,
super nice.
everyone's yes sir, yes ma'am, and you come here, it was like, what you say, bro? I'm like, bro,
Like,
You're 5 years
mamas.
old.
Oh, mamas.
yeah, all mamas, like, you're 2 years old in a diaper, like
He's all holding his diaper. Oh, mamas.
take your shirt off.
gold chain on too.
He already got a tap.
It's a baby bottle.
That's Fresno.
With a chain around it. Nah, bro, that's the Bay Area. I'll tell you.
Got a little bulldog right here, and I'm playing. But yeah, it's just kind of like
He got a red rag on him. He's already ready.
He's popping colors.
Oh, blue. Don't say it. That's
Don't say red or.
that's funny.
so. I just kind of went back into that. Like it was hard, man, transitioning into like coming from a non-denominational church and then coming back to where I grew up from, and like trying to transition and help change, and it was tough. And then when we went to meet with the pastor there at the time, we were like, hey, you know how every guy's like, yeah, we're down to help anywhere you want us to help, And so we went out to eat, and he was like, yeah, you're not gonna be here long. And so me and my wife looked at each other like, bruh, like you don't want our help? Like we're here.
G thinks.
Yeah, and he called it. He was like, nah, God has something bigger for you.
Dang.
Yeah, and he's like, God has, this is not it. Like God has something bigger. And so when we got the call to come here, it was like, is this it? And we said no for a while.
How long were you over there for before you
only
got the
9
call?
months, bro.
Oh, 9 months.
Yeah.
9 months.
Wow.
Only 9 months.
That's
Yeah.
quick.
And
That's a quick transition.
He called it too. Yeah.
It's a baby being born right there.
Yeah, that's true.
literally. Yeah, man. I didn't think I was ready. I didn't think I could, handle the pressure or handle it, and here I am today.
And that was from there to here?
Yeah.
And then that's when you started becoming lead pastor?
lead pastor.
Reflection?
Yeah.
So-
and it was second chance when I got here.
Second chance.
What
Okay.
year was that when you moved out here?
2017.
So you've been pastoring since 2017.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
what, 5 years? Going on 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the name of the church. Why did what was the name? Like
What's the
reflection?
purpose
What
behind
was the
it?
purpose? Thank you. Yeah, what was the purpose behind the name?
My thing is like, we have it on the back of our shirts. A lot of them is reflecting heaven. That we were called, we were an image of God, meaning we're a reflection of God.
Yeah.
But our lives and our lifestyle should reflect heaven.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
good.
I felt like when I came back to church, I was always like, I grew up in church just like y'all. And you come in, you're like, yeah, church is cool, like, but you got tired of just like seeing people be one person on Sunday, and then the rest of the week it's like,
Different person.
yeah,
And nobody was
different person.
genuine.
Yeah, and it's like, I was like, nah, if I go in, man, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
Like the way I did the world and went all in, I'm gonna do the same thing here.
Yeah,
So
that's good. That's good.
it's literally, that's how you got the name, is one that just like
Reflection. That makes
of God.
sense.
I would
Yeah.
say you said that the one thing, like I've seen you outside of church, I've seen you at church. You are literally the same person. I've seen you. We've come during the midweek, and he's literally manning cameras.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and then that Sunday he preaching. Like, and like you're the same person. So yeah, it's real cool to see that.
Appreciate that.
Because you don't get that a lot, man.
No.
You know, it's like our pastor. Our pastor be up there cleaning with us and everything, and then he'll get on the keys sometimes and just start singing and playing.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Do
You
that.
know,
Just be going up.
Plays the same, man.
Get off, Manny. No, I'm just playing. Manny's too good, man. He's like, sit down.
Sit your son down. Go back to the airport.
Hey, leave my boy alone.
I got to, bro. 'Cause he said
Manny,
he said
man.
something a couple of days ago
I
that
love
you know
Manny.
I had to get him back. Yeah.
Go back to
You
the
gotta get it back.
airport.
Go back to the, tell that plane where to go. I love you though.
Yeah, he's watching.
Yeah, he's watching.
I'm gonna send him this one right here just on purpose. Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about being a pastor, or like what's a moment that sticks out to you in that journey so far?
Man, I think there's a lot. Like I shared today, like just hearing testimonies now, like of people, like just their life story changing and stuff. That's probably like a big thing. But like another thing is this relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like creating relationship with people and people with like-minded, like faith. You know what I mean? To have like
It's awesome.
people like y'all, like who's like, hey, you can still be saved and have fun. You know what I mean? Like,
True story.
because when I grew up, I was like, I don't think you could do that. Like,
Gotta be stiff and starchy all the
We're
time.
supposed to go bowling too. I ain't forget that.
Oh, yeah.
You finna get these hands in bowling too right now.
bro, I got 3 bowling balls, bro.
I feel like you do.
That I bring to the
He's in
altar
two
and pray
leagues.
over every day.
He got the shoes. He got Jordan 1s, but with the
He
bowling
takes them
bottom.
out, takes them out every day just to polish them up. Be ready.
I rub
Nemo,
my
ain't ready
Bible
for
all
this?
over it because I'm holy.
He took one of them. Took it out. It's all the Bible, just wrapped in a ball.
Yeah.
We do need to go bowling though.
That'd
I'll
be
be
fun.
down
That'd be fun.
at the fashion fair.
Fashion fair?
Yeah.
The new one?
They got a
New
new
one.
one.
You just got to come strapped because
No,
fashion
it's
fair
good.
is
No, no.
Hey,
It's
it's happened a couple
Oh.
of times
It happened a
already.
couple
Oh,
times
last
at fashion
year,
fair.
like
But
3
you can't go
times.
downstairs without being checked, ID'd, everything. You
Oh,
can't.
really?
Your chain has to be tucked
There's
in.
always a way.
Your
Like,
chain has
they
to be
literally have
tucked.
to, and then they have people that if
He's
I
so
noticed that if
strapped.
you pop
Like
it
a
out, they're
shot
like, "Excuse
going
me, sir, can
bowling.
you please tuck it in?"
Dang.
Yeah, it was crazy. They almost did that. My
Tuck
wife
it
could
in
go
your neck.
downstairs. I ain't got no neck, so it don't even matter. You know what I mean? Tuck it in your shoulders because I ain't got no neck.
Pull it out of the skin.
If y'all know, no neck Nemos, but here, you know,
Yeah, no neck Nemo.
Hey, that's changing. That's changing.
it is.
We'll see you next year.
Dang, bro.
6 week
I'm just
challenge.
talking about that one
My
dude,
6
man.
weeks, 6 week challenge starts in like
6 weeks.
In 6 weeks.
2 days.
You got it,
2 weeks.
bro.
I mean,
It starts in 6 weeks.
I'm starting
hey,
next Monday.
I'm
That's
down
what it-
24 pounds, right? So it don't matter.
Hey, man.
Hey, that's what's
good.
up.
That's
That's
good.
That's good. It's because of these right here. If you don't know,
Cut out
the
soda,
secret.
bro. I'm telling you, that's
Cut
a
out
The
good
shameless
substitute.
plug, bro.
It's a good
Clear
substitute.
American.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that for me, it was always like relationship. You know, like creating this relationship with people, getting to know people. Like you said, I don't want people to think I'm like way up here and you're down here, and like, nah, I don't want to do life together. So
I think that's one of the things that drew us to you guys is that we can genuinely feel like real hearts, and that you're not like trying to build anyone's name up above anybody else. And like, we genuinely saw that. Like, this man will be vacuuming rooms and
Yeah.
washing toilets. How do you say that? Cleaning toilets, doing all that kind of stuff. And we felt that, and that's why we were like, yeah, this is where we need to be.
Yeah,
So-
it's like when Charles, you mentioned it a few Sundays when I had my Sunday off, and I went and you said Charles got mad at you the one day because you beat him to the church to do something, and he was just like, oh,
yeah,
like
he's like, is there anything for me to do?
yeah, it's just funny. He's like,
Hey, bro,
because that's
calm down.
Charles, bro. Like, yeah, it's just cool to see like. You know, you meet people where they are too,
Yeah.
and that's good because you don't. It's unfortunate sometimes you don't find that, and people need that.
Yeah,
That,
appreciate you.
and that helps out, man. I mean, think of like somebody in your case, you coming in and right away being recognized by the pastor, you know, like yourself, anybody coming in who had been in your shoes in the past, it just makes it easy. Like, this guy was the guy that was just vacuuming the floor not too long ago, and he's preaching right now, you
Because
know?
he don't be introducing himself as a pastor.
No, he doesn't.
no.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's why, like, we always got to make it a point, even if you're up on stage, man, come down, say hi to people, and make yourself human.
That's a good topic for another
Doesn't
podcast.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I love that. I love one pastor. You know him, Pastor Charlie.
Yeah.
What did he always do when he was praying, when he was walking out? So he closing the service out, right? He's praying, but he's walking to the back of the door. he passes the mic over to somebody, he's shaking everyone's hand. I love that about Pastor Charlie.
cool.
Yeah, he does.
He never he was coolest dude ever.
Yeah.
I try to
Pastor
do
Jim.
Pastor Jim's the same
Pastor
way.
Jim, he does that too, man.
He says when he says amen, he takes
runs
it
straight
out,
to the front door.
He goes straight to the front door. Him and his wife, and that's awesome to see that, man.
Yeah, I think that's the game changer. That's what we do. The same thing. That's why I have someone else close, so I can go to the
That's a good idea.
front
Yeah,
door and
that's
just
a good idea.
shake people's hand. Sometimes I greet, and I'm trying not to, but it's like I just like people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I just love being around people. So
Yeah.
to meet
you
people.
need that.
Yeah.
I wanted to dive into some things that are a little bit more not as fun, I guess, that we all go through in ministry and that we all feel, and I'm sure other people can relate to. Even me personally is going through something like this right now. It's just, what is something you do to make sure your family's first before everything else?
Man, that's big.
It's the first ministry.
Yeah, it's the
That's a
first
struggle
ministry.
too.
It's the biggest
You
struggle.
Especially
do it
for
right.
pastors or lead pastors.
If you don't do it right.
Especially,
I'm not even lying. I struggle with it now. Like literally, like we had to go out out of town just yesterday or Friday to do that, because sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing that we forget our main priority. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so it hit me for a while when I would come home and my son be so excited that I came home. And at first I was like, that's cool. He's excited I came home. But then I started thinking, why are you so excited? Is it because I'm never home?
Yeah.
Or is it because, I'm not home enough? Or and so when I
Wow.
started thinking that, I was like, I'm not home enough, And at times, like for a while when I felt like the church was almost like a burden, I started resenting the church in a way. Internally, not really doing it out there.
Yeah.
And then I would take it out on my family by not showing up to their, being around all the time and trying to stay away and then say it's the church, it's the church. When really it's internal stuff that you got to deal with. And I think the hardest part with ministry is prioritizing.
Yeah.
Like setting dates apart. And so we're trying to do that right now. Like, hey, these are non-negotiable days. Like, Monday's date night or Saturday's family day. Like, and then it doesn't matter what happens in the church. Like, that's not going to change. Like, somebody literally has to be dying for that to change, And so that's kind of like where we're at right now. It's like, okay, figure out the groove. And like I said, I'm still learning, man. Like, I don't even know how to do it. And I've asked other pastors, like, how do you guys do it? Like, you guys got bigger churches, and a lot of them can't even answer. And it's like, well, do you spend time with your family then? Because, like, it's kind of hard. Yeah. So, like, for me, I'm starting to realize just, like, do, like, non-negotiables. Like, days that you just say, you know what, my phone got to turn off. I can't even, just like we were out yesterday and one of us, our church members, was like, hey, let's meet up for lunch. And internally, I'm like, I like to meet people. Let's go. Let's do it. But then I was out with my wife, so I was like, nah, you know what? I just got to stick to this. Yeah.
Oh.
And as bad as you want to, it's like, oh, we're going to miss out. And
that's what you're used to doing.
yeah, I'm so used to doing it. But yesterday I was proud of myself because I was like, we're just going to walk the beach, go eat some nice little them fries, lobster fries, and just enjoy it. And so I think you have to have that.
That's amazing. I'm not a pastor, but like yesterday I was supposed to go watch a fight with Nick to Nick's house, and I ended up you guys were here, and I was gonna go afterwards, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just spend my time with my wife because I'm home, but I'm not home sometimes. If that makes sense. Like, I'm there physically. Yeah. But I'm not really there because I'm either on my laptop doing something or I'm answering phone calls or something like that. And then there's moments like, or my wife, she'll text me while I'm doing something, and obviously it pops up on the iPad, on the iPhone. I mean on the Mac, and it says, "All right, is it time for me yet?" And when I see that, I stop immediately and I go to her because it's like, dang, I don't want you to ever feel like I'm home but I'm not home. And
like being present but not connected.
It's like sometimes I even push my daughter away. So now anytime like she comes up to me, I stop what I'm doing and I give her my full attention. Yeah. Because I'm like, what's up, baby? What's up? Oh, you want some water? All right, let's go get some water. Yeah. And I let her get the cup and I walk with her for her to do it. But I know it's like she just wants to have me around, have me there. Just because I'm working at home doesn't mean I'm home. Yeah.
It's true. Yep.
And that's just a husband issue. Even you don't have to be in ministry, but the biggest thing about like being somebody who's involved in the church is that's going to reflect, in your relationship with God, not only, but also like in your ministry too. Like being a pastor, being anybody who does media type worship team, you're not right with your wife, man. Like, I love what you were talking about. Like, that men's breakfast that you had recently, you said you'll know you're doing it right is when your wife is glowing with the Holy Spirit and she walks into the room with confidence, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's one thing, honestly, I liked about whenever I went to go to not the worship night. Was it the worship night? The worship night, and Pastor Britt ended up praying, man. I was like, oh, we know that you and Pastor Britt are like in tune with God, man, praying, man.
Yeah,
Just
'cause
by
she
you could
was
tell by the
bringing
way
it down.
she's praying to God, you know, like, dang, dude,
She can
that's
pray,
good.
man. If she prays,
She
that's
can
like,
without a doubt, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on
I
now.
just pray for the food.
Bless it. Amen.
It's
Jesus'
his name.
Go eat. In peace. No.
Nah, but that's true. It's true. It's facts. Like, it's not only just a ministry thing. I think it's like men.
Yeah.
It is,
like,
man.
I think it's a
period.
little
I'm
harder.
struggling with it right
though.
now.
It gets harder a little bit in ministry though, because
Yeah.
I feel like ministry really pulls a lot out of you.
It
I don't do.
does.
I do much, but I don't do much at the same time.
Yeah,
But I'm always helping.
yeah. No, exactly, bro. You're in ministry, man. Every
always
single one of us,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
We're all doing something for the Lord right now, you know. And like what you were saying, you start resenting the church, you know,
Yeah.
and even the people who take, you know, who you prioritize, you know, in front of your wife, man. But resenting the church, resenting the work that you do, that's never a good thing, too.
Yeah.
So
I always say this: if you wake up in the morning on Sunday and you hear and you do this, I gotta go to church.
if it's a
That's an issue.
if it's a
Yeah.
burden, oh,
That's
man.
an issue.
That is.
It's an issue.
And
big
the thing
time.
is, it will reflect no matter how much you can fake it. Like, there's been moments where
That's true.
There's moments where I know I don't want to be at church because I'm either tired or whatever. It's probably happened. I mean, it's happened a few times,
Today.
and I've noticed. No, today I was excited. I walked in there. Then I walked in there super hyped. But like, but there's moments. And he. I know he feels it because I don't play the same. I don't do things the same.
Like today,
I
he was
don't-
on fire.
I don't put
In those
my
drums.
same
Animal.
like the same passion that I always do. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the moment that this happens a lot is the moment I have to really sit back and reflect myself.
Or even take a break,
Or
man.
even like, yeah, I told him like, hey, April, I'm sitting down. He's like, all right. It's not that it's because I feel tired or anything, but it's like, no, man, I need a break
Everybody
for a
needs
second.
a break.
And it's important
You
not to
know?
burn anybody out.
Yeah, especially like when you have volunteers. Like I told Aaron and I'm like, don't feel like you have to be here all the time. Like it's good to be faithful to what you're doing, but like when you just like, oh, I gotta be there. That's when it's like burnout, you know.
You should be excited to go to church. You should
Yeah.
be excited to go do ministry. I get excited. Like today, I was excited. One of the songs I wasn't too flattered with, and he knows it. I'm like, hey, bro, this song is just too slow, bro. Like I can't, you know. But that's just my internal self. But I was excited. Like, I was like, this worship set about to be crazy.
And
I
it was
excited.
solid.
It was exciting. No one really messed
No
up.
one messed up. Yeah, I
Like
was
we were just
whoa,
all. He didn't even
shoot.
really talk. He was. As a matter of fact, I turned him down. He started singing. I'm like, this guy, bro. The mic is right here.
I
Like,
turn
you're
him on.
facing this way. You're singing loud, bro. Like, my boy's going in today, you know. But,
Trying to get that spot, huh?
I was like,
He
I told my wife,
Shut
move
up.
out the way.
He tried to audition for his wife.
Nah, but I think like we said, it's just prioritizing. It's hard, man. It really is. It's
Being
hard.
intentional
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
I know, like when you guys, that's what we're struggling with, is finding that balance. Like now that we're pretty heavily involved in church again and working like crazy and family time, that's like the baby time plus dating your wife still, and it's
Yeah.
just all this. And like we're taking that advice that you guys are even trying to do, is setting a date to where this is non-negotiable. Like,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what we do. Like,
Yeah.
sorry guys, I gotta silence my phones, or
That's awesome.
I'm not editing, I'm not doing anything like that, so that
Do it.
I'm present at the same time.
I like to do that. Friday evenings, I like to just chill with my wife.
Yeah.
Just let it.
We just started doing that. I told Nemo the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Wednesday nights? But then when we have our first Wednesday service, it'll be Thursday night.
Yeah.
We're gotta keep it consistent,
Yeah,
man.
got to. We're even trying to find a day because even with like babysitters and you have to
Yeah.
think about your kid and all that things.
So
So
we'll take break.
yeah,
Take break.
Right.
my son wild. Right?
Oh, seriously?
Bro, it's about to be. It'll get dark till later now. Coming up.
coming
Well,
up.
Well, we're gonna be training that boy for T-ball, so don't even
Yeah,
worry about it.
man.
Me and Joey about
They're
to.
all gonna be on
And
the same
boxing.
team.
They're on the same
And
team?
boxer.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're on the same team.
That's
I
brave.
box,
Brave
bro.
as a man.
I used to box. I got everything in the house still.
We're punching bag with a little whitey tighties on.
With knee-high socks.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's crazy.
Got some wrestling shoes on, some boxing shoes on.
Nah, bro, you just wear Jordans.
Listen,
They're
Jay.
flat. You good?
Okay.
I've seen that. Yeah.
You got some new ones today.
There you go. Take those home.
Yeah,
I just bought them.
Take it home.
Yeah, they
I
come
just
right
bought
back
them.
to the house.
$3.99. $3.99, baby.
$3.99. Blast, huh?
I know the package is here.
I know. I just saw.
She said the
Amen.
package has arrived.
We're gonna transition them right now during the episode.
That's funny.
No, I just got a couple more questions. I know you guys just finished up a series, faith series.
That was good.
Just kind of being transparent about a time that you guys went through during the pandemic and being very honest about how the doors almost closed and I don't know if it was a week away from closing. I don't know if it was like an hour away from closing. I don't know what that looks like, but can you talk about like what that season during a really hard time for a lot of churches was, especially since you couldn't have anybody in the building most of the time?
Pandemic.
Sucks.
What was that like, and what was like the thought process behind wanting to close the doors?
Man, it was tough. I think a lot of pastors don't actually tell
They don't.
like
They don't.
how they really
They
feel
don't.
about it, but I was like, man, I wanted to quit. And it's not like that I was like upset at God, but I was like, hey, if it didn't work out, I gave everything I had. Like, that's all I could do. And it was tough because like the pandemic hit, like the first, it was like 2 years ago now, I think it is.
Yeah,
And
2020.
yeah, 2020, when we first got that first pandemic and we were shutting down, I was like, all right, it's cool. We'll get new cameras. We're going to be tight. Like, we'll get our online game tight. And so we got some new cameras and try to do it. But then it was just like nothing like having people in person.
Yeah.
And then people got comfortable after doing it so long. So when we opened the doors,
They didn't want to come in.
nobody was coming back. They're like, oh, we're watching online, or we watching, watch you online. And then people forget that it costs money to keep the building open. And so
Yeah.
people stop tithing, stop giving. And not that, like, I don't preach for nobody's money. And Aaron knows that.
Yeah.
I said a lot, like, I don't need your money. God always provides.
Yeah.
But it does take money to go through that stuff. And so at a stage where we're like, all right, this is tough. Like, nobody's coming, no money's coming in. We still had to pay full rent because they don't care, like nobody else cares that your church isn't
The
open.
whole time you have to pay for rent.
Not the whole time, but pretty much.
But like after a few months,
yeah,
they're like,
a
all
few
right,
months, they're
give
like,
me all that
cool.
money.
Yeah. And they're like,
That's
y'all got help.
crazy.
Everyone got the stimulus. You guys should be having everything should be good now.
You be all right.
Yeah. So it was tough, man. We literally,
That's crazy.
I had called the
was,
landlord and
yeah.
was like, yeah, I think we're done.
Oh wow, you called.
Yeah, I called.
Wow.
I made the call. I was like, hey, we're done. And then I was talking to my wife. She was like, yeah, and I even told her, I was like, if it don't happen by the end of the year, like, it's just, we're done. But I couldn't even wait that long. I was like, bro, this, like, I'm not coming out of pocket to pay for this church. Like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And then it just came where I called him, and he was like, well, can you just take, a month, see how it goes? And that's when I went behind that church. It was on by the airport. And I drive for FedEx, so part-time. And so I went back there, and that's when God just, like, spoke to me. And he was like, start a faith series. And I went home. I remember I told him, I was like, man, I don't know why. We don't need faith to close down. Like, literally just turn the keys in. It don't cost no kind of faith. Like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
it. This is-
yeah.
I'm done. And so when I like felt that pressure and God said to do a faith series, I literally was like, all right, this is my last thing. Like, if I'm going out, I'm going all out. Like, I'm going to give everything. And we literally went to the church the next day and redid the lobby.
Yeah.
Like, we brought our little tools, and my wife was cutting, and my wife is like a handyman, like, for real. Like, I'm just
She does
a
some
cheerleader.
good work,
yeah,
man.
so she gets down, and so I was in there like, yeah, you got it. We painted everything.
You're doing
and-
real good.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Keep going.
Longest cheerleader
Joanna
out there, bro.
Gaines. Yeah, like, literally, it was like, I was like, this is it, and then
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but when we were sitting there, I just started getting all these ideas for faith and merch, like merch for our faith series. And the first thing that came was like fresh faith. Like, I need a fresh like wind or fresh kind of faith.
Yeah.
And then, like, no kidding, like the second week of the series, like, people were coming and we're like, what is this? Like, you're not supposed to come. We're closing in like 3 weeks. Like, like, you're not supposed to come back. Like, but it just kept coming and coming.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really stopped since then. And so it's like, I called him
Wow.
back like after like the third week, and he was like, how's it looking? I was like, man, I don't know what happened, but maybe you have more faith in me than I did, because this like it's growing now.
It's crazy, right? How God works.
Man,
Like, you literally just gave him that, and he just.
that's
All right.
I'm about to cry, bro.
I'll show you right now, bro.
Literally.
Are you about to shut down? All right.
Yeah.
Let me show you why.
And how are you guys right now as a church?
We're doing good. I'm not saying like, oh, it's like a huge church, but man, we've completely like 180 this thing. Like
it does seem like you guys are on the move right now.
yeah, we do have momentum. Like
Yeah.
I will say that. Like we have momentum, and one thing that was hard was for 5-6 years, my wife and I felt like we've been doing it alone. Like we had a few helpers, but it just wasn't enough to keep everything going.
Yeah.
And so, especially like with me, like I'm a visionary. Like I dream big. I like have big vision. So I'm like, this is not enough people to try to make this thing go.
Yeah.
And so I was just like trying to push and I was getting burnt out. And that's why even my wife, it was like hard on my marriage. It was hard on me being a father. And then I would go to the church and I wasn't as happy as I was like greeting people. I'd be mad almost like, hey, good, thanks for coming this one Sunday. Like you're not coming back in another 2 months. Like that's it. My mindset was starting to think, and I'm like, dude, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like I'm not this kind of person. And so I just kept pushing, and then literally when that faith series hit, it ended up being like 9 weeks,
Wow.
10 weeks of a series. Like I only had like 3 messages, and we going out with a bang. That's it. And it literally like just kept turning and turning. I'm like, bro, people keep coming. Like
God just kept giving you more
Yeah.
revelation.
So you expected
That's
3
amazing.
weeks. Yeah, 3 messages, 3 weeks,
That
and
was
that's it.
it.
We were done.
Here's the keys,
I even
sir.
had the messages. I was like, I'm ready. 3
This is
messages.
it,
I'm
right
good.
here.
I'm going all out.
Yeah.
And it literally just shifted. And then the people that came, like Aaron and V, and then like other people who've been in ministry that know like the hurt, the pain, the weight.
yeah. They can
that
relate.
can relate to it. They like came and like, dude, like this is big help now. So
That's
like,
good.
This is probably the best year that I've started
Yeah,
as a
Wow.
pastor, that I felt like
that's good.
I got momentum. So this is like, it's a good thing.
How did you? I'm trying to look at the questions I have. I know you said, was it more of a financial thing, or was it more of a, like, I'm just exhausted thing when you guys were going to close?
It was a little bit of both, but a lot of it was like I'm exhausted.
Okay.
Like I've lost every inch of strength, like ounce of strength that I had. Like I literally just
you
felt
like
like
your passion went away, in a sense.
yeah, in a way, like I almost felt like maybe I missed it. Like maybe I wasn't supposed to pastor a church. you
Really?
know?
Yeah.
Maybe, and I actually had someone who told me like that was very close to me when I first said, you know, hey, I'm thinking about taking this position. They were like, you're not ready. And I was like, maybe they were right.
Oh, so
Like,
you had doubts from that person?
yeah, I had doubts from the person like before I even took the position that was like really close to me. And so when this came, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not right. You know, maybe he was right and I'm not supposed to do this thing. So a lot of it was like burnt, man. I was just done. I had no more energy. I didn't have passion. Like even like trying to study, like it's one thing. Even, and I could even be honest, man. I haven't even told anybody this, but a lot of like towards the end of before October last year, I was writing off my gift. I wasn't even like preparing like I do now. Now I spend hours like preparing. That's how I normally do. But I was like, man, Mary had a little lamb. Like this, what we
I
gonna
got
learn.
this. 30 minutes. Here we go.
Like this is it. Like
Come in.
literally.
I got that jump shot. Don't worry about it.
And that's probably what it was too, man. Guys like, hey, I'm giving you a deadline right here. I want to see what you can do in 3 weeks. And then you were like, I'm just gonna go all out in 3 weeks, and then just change it up.
I
He
did.
should.
I
It
literally-
literally turned
and
it
every
Give you a new
time,
perspective.
every time, like I've said, like if they don't grow by the end of the year, I'm shutting this thing down. And literally like grow so much. But this was the time where like I literally sat there, I cried in my FedEx uniform, in my FedEx truck. I literally cried. It was like, Lord, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I'm throwing in the towel. Like I'm completely done. No one wants to help. Like, and then people want to help. They're like, I'm about to do your funeral in like 2 months. If you're like super old and you want to come help, like you need to have like some energy with me. Like,
Oh, no, we get you. We get
no,
you.
like
Yeah,
literally,
yeah, yeah.
it's like, bro, like I don't know how to do this. You know, like
Yeah.
with people who can have the same energy, who are young, and then it just literally like just turned quick, and I'm like, God, he ain't stopped. Literally, like last week it
Praise
was like
God,
completely full.
That's good.
This week we had like people go out of town and stuff, but it was still a
Right.
good crowd. So
What was you didn't, during that time you didn't feel like let down by God at all, or like any like God, like honestly, like what the heck, like what's going on?
I kind of did, but not like a lot of it I put on myself because I felt like I made the decision to come.
Yeah.
And the only thing I felt let down was like, why would you let me come and then lose my marriage, I started to like resent God in that way, like not with the church, but like with myself, like in my marriage and my family, like because the church was literally, to be honest, it took everything from me. Like
Yeah.
it was like just drawing so much from me, and I wasn't spending time with my family like I should. Like, people are like, oh, you guys have the best marriage. I'm like, bro, we're struggling right now. Like, I'm barely home. Like, and we're just like riding on our last wheels. And this year we're like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we got to stick to this thing. Let's ride this thing out. So I never really felt like I was like mad at God, only because I felt like I've been through that before. Like, and that's what made me like go away from God. This time I felt like even if I'm not the pastor, I'm going to serve somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's how, like, mature to me I feel like my spirit is like, even if I'm not the pastor, I don't got to have a title. Like, y'all know, like, I don't, everywhere I go at FedEx, I don't even tell them when I'm in, hey, you go to church? I'm like, yeah, I go to church. They're like, what church? Reflection Church, you should come by. I never tell them I'm the pastor. And when they come, they're like, you tricked me. Like, you're the pastor. Like, because it was never about titles for me.
Right.
Like, titles don't define me at all.
Right.
So,
I love that.
Titles don't define you.
So there's momentum that's like continuing to build. What does, I know this year we're talking about this, our word is freedom that we're standing on. What is kind of the overall vision? I'm sure it was like reignited over the last few months. What does that look like if you can put it into words, the vision for reflection?
Man, it's almost like I can. My vision is so big.
Yeah.
Like, I literally, when I think of the church now, Reflection Church, I think of like people actually being the church. Like before, like for the men's thing, my dream was always to have a men's like breakfast, but I never had men in our church. There was like 3 of them in there, and then it was like all women. I'm like, I'm never gonna have a men's thing. And so when we had our men's thing, it was like it reignited something to see like, when is Reflection Church gonna actually be the church where people will look like there is something different about them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just go to church on Sundays. Like, you know, they actually move differently. They vibe differently. And so, like, my vision is like to impact our community like crazy. Like, where people don't, I'm not saying to say like, oh yeah, Reflection Church is doing this, but where people are like, man, they're literally reflecting heaven, like a mirror image of God.
Yeah.
Like, if they can see people like love people no matter what, you know, don't judge people. Like, I'm big on that. Like, stop judging people. Like I said today, like, a lot of us, we're prideful where we start looking at other people's sin as if it's like way up there, and
Compared
as
to
if
yours.
compared to yours, and your sin can get you to hell just as much as it can get them to hell. It's like,
Yeah.
bruh, like,
Sin is sin.
Yeah, sin is sin. And so, like, my
sin.
vision for that is for people to just feel like the love of God. I literally felt like when I shared earlier with Pastor Mike, that was one thing he said, and he kept pounding that day. It was like, dude, God loves you. No matter how far away you feel like he still loves you. Wow. And that, when I heard that, I literally was like, dang, he loves me? Like, even after I messed up, like, he was even saying, even if you slept with your girl last night, like, he loves you. And I'm like, bro, that's like dope, like, to know that. And so when he did that, that's literally my heart, is so that people could feel the love of God. And so my vision is big, man. I already been looking at bigger buildings, like land.
Come on now.
Like, I drive around, like Aaron would say, man, I drive around looking at land like, yeah, that looks good. Like, it's going to be Reflection
I can
Church.
see the sign right there. Yeah. That's about right.
I drive by Save Mart, like, dang, saving souls, Mart. Like,
come on now.
Like, yeah, like
Trademark.
Yeah, I just literally, like, dream big. I feel like God is just beginning something here in the valley. So
where do you see the church then in 5 years? Like, where would you like to see Reflection Church at?
I would like us to see, to be honest, I'd rather see us more spiritually grown than numbers wise.
The numbers, yeah.
Yeah, but like, if I would picture that, I would see both.
Because if you see
Absolutely.
the spirituality grow,
You see the numbers grow. Because you're built on the solid foundation now.
Yeah.
It's not fluff. People who are fake in the church, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like it's almost like a disease or a virus. It just catches on. It's real contagious. When people start coming in, like, man, this guy really loves Jesus, I can tell, you know? I want to be like that, you know? Being a reflection of God, being a reflection of heaven. Then it just starts growing in numbers. That's real good.
I told Joey this, like, when I was going to shut down, God, like, I've never really heard him with an audible voice until this time.
Oh, wow.
I sat in my FedEx truck, and I literally heard him, like, whisper in my ear and said, like, you're unhappy with what you see because I'm unhappy with how you see. And that messed me up, bro. I was like, okay, I quit.
I couldn't believe you said
I was
that,
like,
man.
I was like,
the end.
see you guys.
Yeah, that's literally like game changing. Like, it literally
I
changed.
know.
So
Wow.
I literally unplugged my mic. It's the point.
Nah, I see differently now, though. Honestly, like I see, like when people say, "What do you see?" Reflection Church. I see people like being on fire for God.
Yeah.
Whether
Praise
it's
God.
50 people or the 100 people we have, like
Yeah.
that's what we do. But at least we see differently.
Do you feel like God had to have you go through that, I guess, a low season or that low moment just to say, I got you?
Yeah, I definitely think that. Of course, he doesn't cause it, but I think he allowed it.
Yeah, he allows
So,
it. Like, he's all right.
Yeah, I think
Go-
he was
go
like,
ahead.
"Go ahead, I'll let you go there so you can experience
So you
my
can come
grace."
cry to me.
Yeah,
And so
Grace
that
Studio.
you know.
Come on, grow in grace. It says it in the back.
I think that happens too, so that you actually know and you can understand that you didn't do this.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
right.
You were ready to
Yes.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So
That's a good point.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, so
Sheesh,
God's been, dude, he's been amazing, and like I said, I think we'll have a bigger building, more people, and people who like actually genuinely love God. Like I'm one of those pastors. Like I think I shared with you, Joy, when someone at the man's just like, "Hey, I want to serve, but I just got out the pen." I was like, "Man, that's cool. You
It's
could be
even better.
security, like that's. You don't have to be with the kids. I can't let you with the kids, but with security, I got you, bro. Like
We know you finna fight somebody. Don't even worry
you
about
will
it.
die for this church. like
You gonna make sure that car does not get broken in?
like literally. So
Dang, dude.
I'm down to use anybody, honestly. When people like pastors like, no, you got to go through a certain amount of things.
Willing heart.
Yeah, as long as your heart is ready and you're willing to
Yeah.
let God use you, and let's go. It's
Yeah.
fun, so
It's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's all I had.
I got a
I
question.
thought that was awesome.
I got a question. So, being in full-time ministry, what would be probably like the most important thing, like your number one rule, I guess, that you would let everybody know, or anybody who wants to be in ministry full-time? Like, what's something that like you always like thought about, whether like a phrase, expression, or just like, or even like just information, like any knowledge you want to throw out there?
I think like for as far as leadership, as far as ministry, I think the biggest thing like to me is it's not about your title. Like I said, just like I said before, like title doesn't define you. If you need a position to do it right,
Yeah.
then you ain't doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And so
Facts.
like that's one of my biggest things is like if I can see you do it well with no title, then I know when you get the title, you could do it well. But if you're waiting for a title to do it well, I probably don't have a
yeah.
good leader.
It's
and
not
so,
the place for you.
Yeah,
That's more of, I think, of a pride issue, right?
yeah, it's pride.
Because, yeah, you can't, I don't know. Like, I've done a lot of things without a title, and I care less about a title.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The title doesn't define me. I always say that to people. Someone asked me that about one of the churches I was going to a few years back, because they always saw me doing a lot, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do at the church?" I said, "Whatever they want me to do."
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
and they're like, "But you're not this, you're not that." I was like, "Well, I care less."
Just have a servant's heart, servant's attitude.
I said, "Bro, yeah." I said, "I have one title. It's called child. That's
Yeah.
it. I care. That's the only title I care about." I tell people that. Even like when it comes to like Grace Studios, what did I tell you guys? Listen to whatever Aaron says. I said whatever he says. I don't care. It's because I don't.
Just be available.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be available.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I tell Joey all the time, hey, get another drummer so I can do more. I feel like I'm just stuck at being drums.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Love playing,
Yeah.
you know. But like, I always tell Joey, like, man, we need another drummer because I can help you with sound. I can help you with this. I can help with that. I can do that because I'm used to being able doing more than just one specific thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what my dad also embedded in us.
Yeah.
I remember my dad was a pastor. That boy would literally, like you do, check out the trash, clean, vacuum, everything. And he would do everything, and that's what I was taught. So that's why I like to do what I do.
Yeah.
So no title, man. Doesn't matter what position you're in, you can always serve God right now.
Yeah, so you don't need a title. A lot of people are like, how come you don't like make them say pastor? I'm like, because pastor that's not my name. Like, it doesn't define me like that. And so, to me, like the biggest thing, and the reason why I say that is because a lot of in ministry, a lot of people, they want the reward but don't want the responsibility.
Yeah.
Like they want the title but don't
That's
want
not the truth.
Yeah, they don't want
It's the saddest thing.
That is so
and
good.
so I think it's all like pride, man. Like I said, I preached that at our church today. That pride comes before fall, and that's like the biggest thing. Is if you get pride in there, everything else comes attached with it.
And don't stay
Yeah.
somewhere because you have a title. If you know,
Facts.
if you know you can't, if there's you're already at the top and you can't go above that, don't stay there just because they're giving you a paycheck or because you have a title. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be missing out what God has for you because you have a title.
That's facts.
So much people focus on title over anything. I remember someone asked me a few weeks back, "Hey, so what's your title at your church?" I was like, "Servant." Oh, because I don't have a title, I can't. Oh, we can't talk. Okay, cool. Lets me know that you focus on your heart is wrong, bro.
That is.
Yeah.
Like
That's
your
why
heart
most-
is so wrong.
And then they
What's wrong
start
with
moving churches
Start
because
church
they want.
you? Yeah, and then they won't. They'll be.
Yeah.
Where you at? What church you going to? I thought you was going to
Yeah.
Casa de los Homies right here. Now you're at Panchito's church. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah,
Always
facts.
says Panchito.
Going to
I love you. It's a Puerto Rican thing, right? It's a Puerto Rican thing. Just leave me alone.
Pepes.
Pepe, you Pepe.
Down
And,
Pepes.
No, I think
That's his nickname.
that's a huge
Jose.
thing because like a lot of people will do that. They turn into the church hopping thing and they're just looking for a church to make them happy when at the end of the day, like if that's what you're looking for, a church to make you happy, you're going to keep getting
Woo!
hurt.
Yeah.
You going to 50 churches.
Every time, bro.
Every time.
Yeah.
There's
You'll
not
be-
one church.
You're looking for a church to fill this hole when you should already be kind of content just with Jesus alone and
Yeah.
just serving wherever it is. And that's the thing that we had to learn was like, bro, you're not good enough to be anything like that or talking that way or, you know, it's just like, just serve, just give. My
Yeah.
dad's always told me and kind of ingrained it in like our hearts and our minds that your gifts will make room for you.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is. So just give no matter where
Yes.
it is and give to as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
That's why I'll edit till 11, 12 in the morning
Yeah.
because I'm like,
This
just
guy's only
give,
let me
just
edit
give.
one video.
The whole
All
time.
right? Just full time. He's like,
One
hey,
time.
can you edit for...
I
was like,
physically could not edit that.
no,
weekend.
but no. There was a couple times, like, hey, can you just edit for like the next couple weeks? Just and I'm like, bro, of course I
You're
can.
about to edit for like 3 months.
And then
so.
this dude literally was like,
Get ready.
We about to edit.
We about
I'm
to
just
edit.
kidding.
Oh,
But
man.
like, it's a servant's heart, man. Like
Yeah.
from the beginning, I told him, hey, we can go half on certain things and
Yeah.
you know, like editing wise, and he's like, all right, cool. I'd never seen these memory cards go only once. I'm dead serious. I've only seen these memory cards
One
once.
time.
And that just shows like he just
Just want to get
when you love what you're
You
doing,
got a passion.
Yeah.
for
you have a passion. Like I will always say, the moment I lose my passion of doing what I'm doing, I'll stop because I never want to do it because I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I have that heart, well, I'm good at drums, so
Yeah.
I'll just play. Someone asked me on Friday to be a part of. Hey, God, I'm writing an album. I need you to play drums. This and that. I said, bro, I appreciate that, bro, but I'm good.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? I said, because I don't do it for me to shine, bro. I do it for God,
That's good.
and I play with passion because I said it in the reel. Because I remember the word that I got.
Yeah.
That's why I still play with passion.
I
And the
think
moment I
too-
lose that, I'm done.
Yeah, I think too, like what you said, a lot of it don't stay there because you got the title. Some people will like say like, I'm not gonna do that anymore because I've been doing it for so long. Like the tenure of them being there, like nah, I've done that for years. Like it's your turn now, right? Sometimes that can get in the way,
That's true.
but also sometimes like for instance like Aaron, like passion can get in the way as well too. Sometimes like misplaced passion. Like
Ooh.
I'm passionate enough in
That's
what
good.
I do
I'm writing that down.
that like I literally like Aaron's preaching next week, right?
Yeah, he is.
Hey.
I could be
Amen.
like, nah,
Yeah, he is.
nobody else is preaching, you know.
Oh,
but
that's
I'm
true,
so
that's true.
passionate about it that I want to promote other people as well. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, let's get you going. Let's do this thing on so we can get this gift going in you and stuff. So if you're so passionate to where you're not able to help others grow
Yes.
above you,
No.
then
Yeah.
your passion
Above
is a
you.
problem.
That's the
yeah.
biggest thing.
So I always tell people, man, use my shoulders to jump all over
Yeah.
me
Please.
and go to
Please
the next
surpass
level.
me.
Yeah.
It's not enough to bring people and make them the same level as you,
Yeah.
but it's enough, more than enough to have them surpass you, man.
Yeah.
That's what you got to strive for. Anybody you bring up, man, disciple,
Yeah.
make disciples of the nation. You want them always to be better. Your kids, wouldn't you want Brave, man,
Yeah.
Leah, right? Alan, be better than you.
It would
Better
suck
than
to
me for
have,
sure
like,
as a man.
Yeah, to have like a church to like say something happened to me, right? And I like go to be with the Lord, right?
Yeah.
And for them to have to go look somewhere else.
Or he moves you somewhere
yeah,
elsewhere.
or he moves me somewhere
Moves
else.
you back
when-
to the motherland.
Yeah, and then really there's other people in there. The motherland.
Other people.
Oh,
His motherland, yeah. San Francisco. No,
I
I'm
was
just
like, he's
kidding.
from the Midwest.
No,
How much, man?
Motherland? No, I'm playing. Yeah, so like I just feel like if I was to leave or to go somewhere,
Yeah, yeah.
if I wouldn't have done my part if there's not someone
able to just
to
go.
be able to step up.
Yeah, that's good.
Maintain, if not just
Yeah.
take the role.
Good, man.
That's the problem
You
with a
build
lot
leaders.
of churches now, though, bro.
They don't have that.
They're so built around one man.
gift, yeah.
They go
Man.
down. Like, I've seen so many
That's a
churches,
huge topic.
man.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this at some point, but
People
yeah.
leaving
It is.
because of person.
or just that idea of a church is broken. I think
Oh, absolutely.
just it's not what it was intended to be. For
Yeah.
one guy to carry the ship,
Yeah.
and if he's not preaching or if he's for whatever reason falls short, like we all do, it just falls apart.
Didn't
Like,
Jesus
That's how you
have
get church
disciples?
splits, man. Yeah, disciples. It
they're
was
all
made
jacked
to
they're all
delegate.
jacked
You know,
up.
like,
They
yeah,
were.
they're-
They
big,
were all
big
jacked up,
facts.
Yeah. They're worse than us.
essentially they're carrying on the minute they're carrying on the calling of what God placed in your heart to place in their heart. You know, like I got an issue with people if you got one person that leaves and all of a sudden like you got whether it's young adults, youth, you know, men's or women's, like a big part of the church because they were all connected and gathered around one person. Now I can see where like some people maybe that they'll put people on a pedestal, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing when we idolize them and place them in front of God, you know. But it's a good thing whenever you look as a healthy comparison as to where like, you know, you kind of compare, remember like the relationship to God, like, you know what, I realize in my life I need to be doing something a little bit more like Pastor so-and-so and so-and-so, and just like encouraging you in that way, you know. But whenever people leave because of a certain individual, man, that's just they weren't rooted in God's word. They were rooted in the man that they were following or a woman.
How do you manage, and this might be too long of a question, but how do you manage someone who's gifted? Like, say, you know, Mike Todd ends up, a young Mike Todd comes through Reflection. They're the youth pastor. I'm just, for example.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
How do you manage the gift? Like, because naturally people are going to gravitate
Be drawn
and
to
start the mentor. Like, I look up to this person,
Yeah,
and that starts
yeah.
to build on itself, and then it becomes such a big thing to where Mike Todd is to where he is.
Yeah.
And now he's hated because he's so big, or he's talked about
Yeah.
because he's so big. How do you manage a gift like that? I don't ever seen that being on the person.
Yeah.
Like Pastor Stephen Furtick is gifted, like he is, and he's just completely talked about and all this stuff. I don't know if that's a question that could be answered, but I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
Like, I just
definitely.
don't.
That's a tough question, man, because I feel like it's true.
Yeah.
Like it. This is like another podcast.
That is another podcast. That's why I'm like, that might be too much.
We
But
might just end it here.
when you said something to where like we look at these people and when they're gifted, you know, everyone like starts to idolize them, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you manage a gift then?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gifted to be what you are, like how do you control
This is-
what that comes from that?
Man,
This is what I would, if I were to answer something like that, just one tip for anybody who's been placed in a position where like you realize that you do have a calling with God. Like if another Mike Todd just rolled up, you know, I would say recognize that people are going to see you like that. And so because of that, and not in a prideful way or anything like, you know, you've been, oh yeah, I'm that good. People are going to look at me as a mentor.
Yeah.
It's not,
Right.
but more of a humble way, you know, acknowledge that God's given you the gift. And because of that, I would say you start indoctrinating their minds to think, hey man, I am here, and you may see like what I can do as far as my gifts, but just know and let them know you don't follow me. So if
Yeah.
I tell people, bro, if I were to ever leave this place right here, you know, my church, you know, if God called me anywhere else, you were not to leave the
Follow,
church
yeah.
and follow me just like that. Because you need to be rooted, not in the church, not because of my pastor, not because of people there, but because God's called you here. So like people question, Joey, how long are you gonna be at Northeast? Like, bro, honestly, I don't even know. But honestly,
Until God says.
like yeah. But God, all I know is God ordained my wife and I to be here at this church, and I'm gonna be here as long as it takes for him to say that we're gone, you know.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt in my mind that he's placed me here. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, if Pastor Jim ever were to leave, I'm like, oh man, looks like we're gonna be leaving too, you know. It's not like that, you know. I built the
Yeah.
foundation based off of what God's given me. So somebody in that position, man, you got to start like analyzing that, being self-aware, and start letting them know, hey, it's not about me.
You
It's
You
about
have
you.
massive
I've
impact.
seen people like that, like literally have the gift and could draw people.
Yeah.
And then when they leave, they take everybody
Yeah,
with them,
see.
and it's like that just shows that you didn't give God glory through it all. You
Right.
kind of did self-glory. And so like I think for like what
Wow,
you were
that's
saying
good.
about the gift thing is that one, recognize you do have that gift,
Yeah.
right? Recognize that people are drawn to you and are drawn to your gift, but also let people know like it's actually God's gift.
Yeah.
It's
That's
actually like
good.
God's the one who helped me be like this. If you can push the attention to God, I feel like you could be more successful in doing things.
That's so hard to even say still, I think.
It is. It's tough because I'm like, because like for me, like personally, I feel like I am gifted in drawing people, right?
Yeah.
I am gifted in what I do, but every time like I always make sure in my mind that it's not me. Like, you know, when people are like, hey man, it was a good sermon today. I don't want to be like, yeah, I know, thank you. Like, like, and I also, when I say like literally it was all God, like I'm genuine about that. I mean that, like it was all God.
Yeah.
Because pride, like it can begin to grow when you're like, you just keep getting all this feedback and stuff. Yeah, compliments. And, you know, I just feel like that's a tough question though, man, because it is hard. And I feel like now I have like gifts like Aaron and other people that are with us now that they can preach, man.
Yeah.
And you don't see me up there like, y'all ain't gonna hear him.
Aaron
Catch his
can bring a word
podcast,
now.
you know. Like,
Aaron can bring a word.
Aaron
now.
can bring heat, and so I'm like, for me, I'm not like prideful to be like, nobody gonna hear Aaron. You just practice it in the back. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, let's get this thing going. I'm about to take a break. Like I'm done. Like
instead of you bashing the gift or stopping the gift, you use not use, but like you motivate them to exercise their gift.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's difficult, man.
I'm sure it takes like a I don't want to say seasoned saint, like a leader that's
okay,
like
boys,
that they can kind of be under.
What the whole knows what he said.
Seasoned saints. Hallelujah.
Man, when I heard season, I thought of hamburgers.
So
Were you hungry? Got the barbecue.
Always.
I think you can always mentor that person to. It's always like you said. It's always got to point back to Jesus, and it's always got to turn back into. You're trying to disciple people at the same time, to where we're not relying on Pastor Fua to bring a fire word to make something happen, to where we're all becoming that person in arms and legs of the body. And I feel like maybe that's where it gets lost, but I couldn't tell you, how these mega churches start and how they fail, and like
it's like
that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
We'll ask them next week too.
Do you ever think like we were talking about? Do you ever think like sometimes also is difficult, like for you as a pastor? Obviously, it's not hard for you to obviously use someone that can bring a word. Is it sometimes hard? Like, has it ever, like, is it pride in the pastor when they don't, like, okay, I know he's gifted in it, but I'm not going to use him. Like, do you think that's pride? Or do you think it's, like, insecurity that the person that it is, I'm going to just use Aaron as an example, right, because you're a pastor, right? Do you think like sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not going to use Aaron because he might have more influence in what he says?
Yeah. I think like
as a pastor's perspective, because obviously you're a pastor, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't think that way,
No, so
it's
but like,
hard. Yeah. It's like, if to me, I'm like, okay, look, I want everyone to be successful. Like, I want, everyone has a gift, and our job as a pastor is to help those gifts grow. And like, for instance, like some people hasn't even preached before, but I saw a gift in them. So I start helping develop that gift and pull it out of them. I'm like, hey, bro, you're preaching in 2 weeks. And they're like, I don't preach. It's like, no, God wants you to preach. Like,
you have it in you.
Yeah, you have it in you. And so to me, if you're not using those gifts, then it could be pride. It could be insecurity, but insecurity comes from the root of pride. Like, it's like pride is literally the root of it. Because pride is saying, like, your way is better, that what I want is better, and then you begin to be insecure in what you're actually supposed to do.
Oh,
and so
I've seen that not in just speaking. I've seen that in worship
in
leaders,
worship
musicians.
Worship leading is probably the worst, because I feel like
musicians for sure.
Musicians, they're like,
they're different breed, bro.
Yeah.
They're different breed.
I'm different. I love when I see another drummer.
But I can see that in pastors too, though, for sure, because I've seen
it personally.
We've probably been in churches that were like they've run off young, gifted people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because you're not gonna do this. You're not gonna take.
Or they think they use the thing.
Take my spotlight.
You're trying to use it for clout, or you're, you just want it because this and that. And I'm like, no, this is what's in me. Yeah. I'm not saying me personally, but I've been part of churches where I have literally not been able to touch a mic because they like, you don't know what to say. I've had a young adult pastor. He let me speak on the. He wanted like the leaders to speak, right? So I had started it He's like, you'll be the first one. And I think that night, I said one thing. I said, I'd kill somebody for my daughter. And that's exactly what I meant. I really meant that. I said it. And he told me flat out, he's like, you're not ever touching the mic again. I'm like, why? I was like, why? I didn't care anyways. It is what it is. Like, I don't care, bro. I'd rather be behind the scenes anyways. But he said, oh, you're not touching the mic ever again because you said, when you said that, he's like, that's not what someone says up on stage. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you just said that like 3 weeks ago, bro. What do you mean? Because they probably, well, no, it's true. I would literally, I would kill somebody for my daughter.
Yeah.
That's just facts. That's just what
filtered
it is.
versions.
And then he was like, no, you need to say you would lay your life down. No, I'm not. That don't even make sense. I'm not going to lay my life. I'm going to kill somebody. Literally, I would kill somebody for my daughter, bro. Like, no, I'm not going to just lay myself down on the floor and let them take my daughter. I know what he meant. But
Lay on
like,
this table.
like, to me, it's like,
I want to see you looking like a.
Wearing a ring.
I want to see you looking like a sushi roll real quick. Lay on this table.
I like the
You're hungry, Joey. You are hungry,
He's
bro.
starving. I can hear your
well,
stomach.
yeah. What you want to go eat? What you want to go eat after
Some
this?
sushi, bro.
Oh, sushi's
Sushi.
Talking
disgusting.
about seasoning and
You don't
everything.
I like sushi.
People, you like sushi?
I love sushi. My wife hates
I'm
sushi.
taking people out to some sushi,
Yeah.
bro.
Okay, let's go. All right, guys. No, I'm just
I'll
kidding.
see you guys later.
They got chow mein. I'm
They
good.
got chicken teriyaki bowls. I'm good.
Yeah,
They be
That's what it is.
smacking.
That was a good question, though, bro. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I
think it is.
it was like, you know, because I don't know. I've experienced that, and I know people who've experienced that even this week, calling me and asking me, and I'm like, oh, well, let me get back to you on that answer, sir. Like, let me get back to you on that
Pray
question.
about it.
I always respect, and this is kind of off. I always respect that. Let me call you back because I don't know the answer right now.
Yeah.
Like I respect you not answering
I
just to
didn't.
answer like you have all the answers.
I was like, no. I was like, he said that to me. I was just like, say that again. And he said it, and I was just like, I said, can I be honest, bro? Like, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
I was like, let me ask a few people that I know that, not that they've experienced this, but that are probably a little more seasoned than I am, that can give me a response to give to you.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I thought I'd ask.
That's amazing. That was a great one.
That was.
Do you have anything else?
This boy about to make it a two-parter over here, bro.
I'm about to make a part two. Shoot.
We need to, man.
No, we're gonna have to bring him back to talk about some of those other deeper questions. But anyone else have any other questions for Pastor? No.
All I gotta say, bro, the new Batman came out. It was 3 hours on it. You can watch that one for 3 hours. You can watch this talking to people for 3 hours. Man.
This was an
How much
hour
more
and a
time we
half.
got?
Hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half. It's a good one.
Do you have anything you wanted to leave off on, or?
Nah, I just appreciate you guys. Thanks for inviting me.
It was a
having me.
pleasure
It was
having
fun.
Yes, sir.
I want to say one thing. Can we get this man on preachers and sneakers? That's all I gotta say.
I need some sneakers.
My boy be drippy.
Preachers and sneakers.
Probably
We'll
one of
tag
the drippiest pastors I know.
We'll clip,
Yeah.
we'll clip that too.
Yeah.
But no,
They'll
thank you
repost
guys. Yeah, they'll repost it. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, drop us a like, hit some comments down there for us, and hit the subscribe button. What are you doing, bruh? Hit that subscribe button already.
Come on
Help us
now.
grow. But thank you guys for watching and tuning in, and we'll see you
See y'all later.
in the next one.
Stay
Hey, guys.